Thanks, Jay. I'm David Kerr, Senior Vice President at Gallagher Canada. My main focus is in the cannabis space and all verticals. And I'm joined right now by my esteemed colleague, Leslie Dukeman, out of Vancouver. Leslie?
Thanks, David. My name is Leslie Dukeman, and I am Assistant Vice President at Gallagher Vancouver. I have worked in the cannabis space with David for the past 8 years.
And today, we're going to talk to you a bit about Gallagher or cannabis expertise, and then a bit of a focus on what you need to be aware of as a micro grower and micro cultivator. First, I'll give you just a Canadian snapshot of Gallagher as a whole. We have about 1,200 employees across the country and 30 plus offices. We are licensed all across Canada. I think at last count, we were about over 100,000 clients. So we have a very deep bench strength is what I like to call it. But the team itself is well versed, both our cannabis practice, we have a claims department, we have a benefits arm, we have leaders in specific industry verticals such as D&O and E&O and what have you. So we're quite a large team across the country willing to serve and help and build a relationship with you guys. When I'm talking about a cannabis team specifically, we're collectively now about 30 plus years of experience providing that gold standard to the cannabis industry for all verticals and business sizes. Myself and Leslie have both been in this vertical for 8 years, and so are some of our colleagues. We're going to examine your business operations to review all areas of exposure and forecasted operations. What we want to do is really diagnose, from reviewing your business, diagnose a solution that's going to help you guys in your current state and in your future state as you're going to continue to grow. It's a challenging insurance market out there for everyone, but specifically for cannabis companies that are still in that infancy stage. We're continuing to evolve solutions to protect your balance sheet and your future. And Leslie will now touch on some of the companies that we work with.
Thanks, David. So some of the people that we work with are the Health Canada licensed producers, retail store operators, retail and producers who are in the application process, extraction and processing, micro and craft growers, law firms, cannabis technology firms, including QA, QM software, as well as POS software, security firms, clinic patient networks, as well as professional investment management firms. And of course, any auxiliary services that support cannabis.
So now onto the macro for the micro, and I think the best way to look at that, and as Leslie will touch on, is what are the coverages that you really need to drive your business?
Here in Canada, we've been able to watch the large cultivators in action. And Health Canada has finally allowed the craft and micro grower to become licensed. This has opened the door to many legacy growers to make the transition from the legal into the legal cannabis market. So what coverages do I need? Well, first of all, most people have property, and some of that property will be leased. And there are contractual obligations that you are required to carry, such as property all risk, which covers your flood, sewer backup, and earthquake. Another coverage would be commercial general liability. The commercial general liability would include products and completed operations in the event somebody claims that your product harmed them. We also include equipment breakdown, stock, which includes growing plants. One main important coverage is product recall. If you're going to be selling B to G, which is business to government, there are provincial guidelines that would require you to carry product recall. If you're taking on investors, we suggest that you look at directors and officers to provide coverage for your entity, as well as your Ds and Os of the company, as well as errors and omission if you're going to be doing testing or if you're doing any consulting to any other businesses.
And I think we've learned a lot of lessons in the last few years from the LPs and what we'll call the macro side of things of, that we can pass on, and how can we assist in building your business, not just from an insurance perspective and getting a great policy, but also what are things that are going to help your risk management of your firm. So the main driver is having an understanding of what type of lighting works within your facility. You'd be shocked to see how many facilities have poor lighting that have a tendency to explode or shatter and cause fire. So we'll help you kind of go through that process and maybe even speak with an engineer who we're happy to recommend to help and say, these may cost a bit more, but they're also going to be risk preventative for your business. Another component of that is a transport risk, which has grown obviously rapidly in the last few years. On that end, you need to be aware of what your transportation company or your load broker or custom broker is providing you in insurance. And if they aren't providing you that proper solution, looking elsewhere to provide an all-encompassing solution for yourselves and your business. We see a lot of this in the space where certain carriers will not have proper insurance in place, or they will not be following the warranties outlined by the insurance company. And finally, product liability. And this is where you're going to be looking into if you're, for instance, looking to have a larger cultivation facility grow as a niche brand on your behalf for selling, and then it's going to come back to you to distribute to the OCS or AGCO, whatever have you. You need to be aware that there needs to be almost a two-way street of insurance going back and forth. Both they need to have it and are adding you in that scenario, and you need to have it and are adding them in that scenario to make sure that everybody is covered off if somebody is negligent while in the production stage.
Provincial regulatory requirements are key to every cannabis insurance business, and understanding the requirements for this business is imperative. Each province has different requirements that you will be required to carry, and understanding that and how it affects your business is imperative. In Ontario last year, we were required to carry 5 million commercial general liability, including products and completed operations. That had dropped down to $5 million. So having a broker that understands those regulatory requirements, as well as can advise you on how that will affect your insurance, is imperative.
Yeah, and to touch on that point even further, we're plugged in across the country. We have people in every province. We're always monitoring any changes that happen on a provincial level. It would obviously be easier if it was just one blanket rule of thumb across the federal aspect. But we're able to, if you have a question, if you're looking to move into another province, if you're looking to diversify or something like that, we can answer that question right away for you. And kind of our last point is something that's obviously come up in the last couple of years is transactional liability. From an M&A's perspective, I don't think we've seen the tip of the iceberg yet, as it is going to continue to increase. What we could do is plug into your business or the business you're looking to acquire. We can provide full due diligence. We can review contracts. We can review current policies and figure out a way to best align your needs post-closing of the transaction. We can also provide transaction insurance if that's deemed that that's required. But the idea behind it is to provide you with the most resources possible while you're going through this process, and to use us for more than just your insurance broker who can place a policy on your behalf. We also want to make sure we're helping you with everything that goes into your business. On that note, I will just say thank you for your time today. We greatly appreciate it. We're looking forward to having some lively discussion in the breakout sessions, and feel free to reach out to us at any point with any other questions.